Alrighty, it's time. Let's do this. Good morning to all of you guys. Appreciate y'all tuning in here. We have got a fantastic Sunday of football here today. We're live. It's the Pigskin pregame. Oh, baby. We got a lot to talk about today. We've got potentially the game of the year going on in the 4 o'clock window. I've got a big upset that I've got a team on upset alert. Think it might impact the playoff race a little bit. I have a challenge to issue to the Minnesota Vikings, and a lot to talk about with that game. There's good matchups in every window. So much to talk about. Man, I really can't wait for this one. This feels like this is one of the best weeks of football that we're going to get all regular season. Man, but before we get into all that, we've got a lot of other stuff to cover. Super fun show. And again, you guys know the drill. If you're in here, feel free to say hello in chat. We're going to get started here with our Immaculate Grid soon. I'm going to take a little sip of coffee and, man, I don't know what else to say. Like, there is a lot going on in the NFL today. This could be one of the most important Sundays of the year. And I just can't wait, man. I just can't wait. So again, appreciate you guys tuning in here early in the morning, and we're going to get right into this. Oh, man. I got a cup of coffee. I'm using Mixer. Not Mixer. Good Lord. This makes me sound like an alcoholic. I'm using creamer mixed into the coffee, which I admittedly don't typically do, but I think I made this batch of coffee a little too strong. I had a cup of it black earlier this week, and I'm not going to lie, like, I was literally just sitting there and my hands were shaking like this, and I like almost had a full-on like anxiety attack. So I was like, all right, like, we're gonna mix some stuff into this coffee a little bit. We're not gonna go too crazy because good Lord, dude, I was seeing demons. That was insanity. But we're just gonna get started here. We're gonna dive into our Immaculate Grid. You know the drill, right? Just getting our brain warmed up a little bit here. I haven't taken a look at it yet, so we'll see what exactly we're working with here. I did all right on my last grid. We have to fix this real quick. I did all right. I've had a few good grids this year. I feel like it's been a down year for me as far as grids go, but we'll see if we can cook up something decent here. We got Gabe popping in here. What's going on, man? Good to have you in here. We got Joao filing in as well. Let's go. Gabe saying Everclear. You know, I've never had that before, and honestly, I'm okay with that. That stuff can get pretty crazy from what I've heard. So, you know, Juice World said it best. He had a lyric about Everclear. I'm not, you know what I'm saying, but we got Joao in here as well saying go Hawks. Oh yeah, baby. Hey, game of the year. You're going to want to stick around for that. Man, I've gone back and forth on that game, truly. You might be surprised who I picked to win that game, honestly. I still haven't fully made it up in my mind. I've talked myself into both those teams winning that game, but man, could be truly the most important game of the regular season. That's what I'll say. We got Pear Champ in here as well saying, hey, Doc, how's it going? It's going good, man. I've had a good weekend. Went and saw The Running Man in theaters last night. Fun movie, you know. Is it like Citizen Kane or anything like that? No, but you get to see it in IMAX. You get some popcorn. You just kick back. It was a good time. So if you're looking for just nice, fun 2 hours of action, right? See Glenn Powell do some cool stuff. See some bad guys get beat up. Good movie. Good movie. Rest in peace, Juice World. You got that right, man. Gabe is saying I might be saying go Hawks very soon. Dude, I'm interested. Maybe we'll have to talk about this later off stream. I'm interested how all that's shaken out right now. Hopefully I didn't break any rules saying that, but that's what I'll say. I'm interested in the future of your fandom. That's what I'll say. But Joao is scared. I get it, man. It's a scary game, but it's also got to be a little exciting, right? You got to be feeling up and ready for it. So we'll see how it goes. But let's get into this Immaculate Grid here. It is an all-teamer. I'll be honest with you, Joao. I've actually never seen Citizen Kane before. It's a slight community reference. It's not verbatim, but if you remember season one, when Abed made his film about his childhood and he showed it to the group, Jeff is like, well, it's not exactly Citizen Kane. So I've never actually seen Citizen Kane, but I like using that movie as like, this is the most pure cinema ever, you know? And I know like it's well regarded, but if you've seen Community, you might know what I'm talking about. All right. All teamer of a grid here. We've got Bengals, Texans, Bengals, Steelers, Bengals 49ers, Browns Texans, Browns Steelers, Browns 49ers, Colts Texans, Colts Steelers, and Colts 49ers. That's a good one. This is a good one right here. I like this. I've got a few popping into my mind already. For Texans Bengals, I'm going to go DJ Reader here. It can be easy to forget that he started his career off with the Texans. He was a part of a nasty defensive line. We'll take a nice little 2% right there. It can be easy to forget, like, they had a defensive line of DJ Reader, J.J. Watt, Jadeveon Clowney, and Whitney Merciless. I mean, that is just a ridiculous collection of talent right there. You want to know why that, was it 2018 Texans team won like 11 straight games? It was having a defensive line like that. I mean, Lord have mercy. That was some good stuff. That was some good stuff. Joao remembers? Let's go. Yeah, I figured you'd seen Community. I feel like, based off of some of the shows that we've talked about on this stream, I was like, I feel like we have a similar taste in TV shows. So that's awesome. Let's go. Let's go. Gabe saying he's moved on. All right. Interesting. I like the emojis too. All right. Let's see what we can get here for Bengals Steelers. Am I tripping, or would Chidobe Awuzie work for that? Or is Chidobe Awuzie not played for the Steelers? You could get Larry Ogunjobi. I mean, he's been Mr. AFC North journeyman, right? He's kind of like the AFC North Zadarius Smith. Could you get Artie Burns? I don't know why I'm thinking Artie Burns right now. Maybe that would work. We might come back to that one. I have a crazy one for Texans Browns. How about James Casey? I'm like 99% sure James Casey played for the... No, are you kidding me? I don't know why I thought that he played for the Browns, dude. I thought for certain that he had played for the Browns. I was so confident about that one. That was really like the first one that I picked up on. I was like, oh, we're going to get James Casey right here. Oh my gosh, dude. All right, that's killing me. Whatever. We still got DJ Reader 2%. That one at least looks good, but we already missed one. That's kind of tough. We're just going to suck it up and get Larry Ogunjobi. Yeah, 3%. He would have worked for Steelers Browns too, I believe, right? I believe the Ravens is the only AFC North team that he hasn't played for, but we'll get Larry Ogunjobi. Bengals 49ers. Mohamed Sanu would work, right? Did Mohamed Sanu ever play for the Niners? I feel like he did. I know he was kind of Kyle Shanahan's guy for a little bit. Started off with the Bengals. Oh my gosh, Justin Smith. That might be a little bit of a higher score, but I like talking about Justin Smith, so we'll take it. 10% still not bad though, but super good player for a long time, man. Maybe not quite a Hall of Famer, but I think he's closer to a gold jacket than maybe people remember, if that makes sense. He's one of those guys that, like, and I'm not even saying this as a dig, like, he just doesn't have a lasting legacy, partially because of the type of player he was, right? Well, I guess he had a few years where he got a lot of sacks, at least for his position, but he wasn't like a double-digit type of guy, you know? But he had a really, really good career, especially when it came over to the 49ers. Okay. Well, let's see what else we can cook up here. How about, let's get some Colts ones. You could get DeForest Buckner for Colts 49ers. But we can do better than that, can't we? We might, Frank Gore is the other obvious one, but we could do better than that. Well, stumped right now. If anyone in chat has any ideas, feel free to let me know. Joao is rewatching The Wire right now. You know, that's a show that I've always meant to watch, and I've just never gotten around to it. And I even have HBO Max. I need to get on that at some point. There's a lot of shows that I'm trying to watch right now. I'm in the middle of watching The Morning Show right now. I'm enjoying that. I want to watch the new Vince Gilligan show, which is also on Apple TV Plus. And I got to get around to watching The Wire. I still need to watch Mad Men. I know that show's coming to streaming soon too. I've got a big list of shows that I need to watch, so we'll get on that. We'll get on that. Steelers Browns. Joe Hayden. I mean, whatever. Again, probably going to be a bit of a higher score, but we'll take it. 69% Joe Hayden. I suppose that's probably the first name that comes to everyone's mind, right? That's legit. That makes sense. We're just saying screw it at this point. We'll do Case Keenum for Texans Browns. 9%. That's a little bit lower than I thought it would be, honestly. I thought he might be like in the 20s or 30s just because those journeyman quarterbacks usually get high-ish scores. Um, Browns 49ers. Browns 49ers. I mean, you could get Alex Mack. That's probably the more obvious one, right? Whatever. We're going through this grid at this point. 3% Alex Mack. That shocks me. Really? Only 3%. I guess because he's a center and maybe there's like a really obvious one that I'm missing. 3% Alex Mack. That is shocking. Oh, that's a great one pair champ. Trey Sermon, Colts 49ers. Oh my gosh. There's no way I would have come up with that, but you're totally right. That is an excellent one right there. Trey Sermon, Ohio State legend. He had a decent amount of hype when he got drafted by the 49ers just because, Kyle's going to cook with those running backs, right? But then they got CMC. But that was a good one pair champ. I like that. Trey Sermon pull. All right, we can get one guess left. We're going to be honorable. We're not going to take an extra guess or anything. We're just going to take our L. We missed one. I thought I could be sick by getting James Casey. Turns out he just didn't play for the Browns, but it's chill. We could either get Colts Texans or we can get Steelers Colts. Either way, we're doing Colts. Eric Ebron's a nice one for Steelers Colts. Didn't Dante Moncrief play for the Steelers? I'm a little scared, but we're going to do it. Let's go. 6% Dante Moncrief. All right. 202 with missing one. That's not terrible. We had a few good ones, right? No like crazy obscure polls. Well, Trey Sermon's up there, honestly, but that was pair champs, so we're going to give him credit for that. Nothing too crazy. Like, these are all at least like fairly notable players, but we'll take that. 202, missing one. That's not bad. Really, it was just Joe Hayden, and then missing one is what really killed the score. But other than that, we kept it at 10% or less, so we'll take that. Let's see what some of these, what the most guessed players were. Only 38 for these two. Interesting, I suppose. Oh, Fitzpatrick makes sense. James Harrison, most common. T.O. Jeff Garcia. Yeah, I thought about him. Oh, Deshaun Watson. Yeah. 78% Andre Johnson. Eric Ebron. There you go. And then Frank Gore. Okay. Well, we did okay. We're only like barely halfway through the season. We're building. We're working our way up a little bit. So we'll take that. We'll live with that. But that was our Immaculate Grid. Just a nice little brain warm up right there, right? You know the drill. You know the vibes. Oh, ESPN's website is down. There we go. We're going to fix that real quick. There is a game going on right now. It's already in the second quarter. I kind of forgot about this. I'm not going to lie, bro. Past few mornings that I've gone live when there's been like an international game, I've had the game up. I'm not going to lie, bro. Unless like things get really crazy, I don't know that I'm going to be pulling up Commanders, Dolphins, sans Jaden Daniels in Madrid. It's 3-3 right now. For whoever cares, I did pick the Dolphins to win this game in the little picks competition, but I don't know. I think there's just so much speed on Miami's offense right now, and this Commanders defense is reeling so much, and especially without Jaden Daniels, like they're just so behind the 8-ball. So there are some people saying like, oh, well, what if the Dolphins go on a little bit of a run here? Maybe they can find their way into playoff contention at least because they've got an easy schedule ahead. It's like, we'll see. We'll see about that, but it's time for the next part of our show here. It is time for the Fantasy Hotline. This is where I set my fantasy lineups, and I kind of walk you guys through my thought process a little bit. This is also open season for any sort of fantasy questions that you guys might have for me, start 'em, sit 'em, stuff like that. We'll check in on the Dr. Pigskin Fantasy League as well. It's been rough for me, but, other people are having fun, but we'll check in on that as well. There's still a few bye weeks going on, right? There's some injuries, so it's kind of a weird week for lineups, I feel like, for a lot of people. But that's how it is with, most seasons of fantasy football. What can you do? But we're going to set our lineup here for Dr. Fraudskin, who is 3-7 and 13th out of 14, which is tough, but we are in a little 2-game win streak, so, so you're saying there's a chance. But I did end up picking up Michael Wilson just because I've got some injuries at wide receiver right now, and there's no Marv, so Michael Wilson might be number one in line now for the Cardinals, at least as far as wide receivers go. So we got him in the starting lineup. I already tweaked this for the most part. But yeah, no Josh Downs. Yeah, you might be able to see why this team has won only 3 games, but we're building something a little bit, so we'll see. Let's check in on the Dr. Pigskin Fantasy League, though, shall we? Let's take a look at that. I am the Dolphins of my own league. You're absolutely right. Got a lot of speed, not a lot of wins. We did win a thriller against Game Solved last week in the Dr. Pigskin Fantasy League, though, facing off against Pear Champ this week, who is one of the league's top dogs. You know, this is a big proving grounds type of game for me. We'll see if we can make something happen here. 2 points from my kicker, not ideal, but it is just the kicker, you know. But I feel all right about my lineup. Matthew Golden kind of scares me a little bit, especially with him being questionable. But it is the Giants, who unfortunately have not been good on defense this year. I finally cut my losses and dropped them. I held on to the Giants defense in 2 of my fantasy leagues literally up until this week. It was like, all right, I need to drop them. They are having too many bad weeks. I need to do something. But you're right, Pear Champ. I am going up against you. We'll see if we could pull off the upset or not. You know, I mean, hey, Nick Folk getting me 2 points. Hey, look out, right? We're coming. But what are the projections looking like? Oh, you're projected to smoke me. Yeah. I mean, you have a pretty sick team. I can't lie. I think we walked through your team last week. Yeah. I get it. You know, I mean, I'm looking at your bench and it's like, oh, I'd want to start this guy, but then it's like, well, no, like, you know, part of me is like, oh, I would love to start Kyle Monangai, but it's like, over who? You know, are you gonna bench Dowdle or Javante? Probably not. Yeah, man, that's a very good problem to have. It's like, oh, I might like Darnold this week. It's like, okay, well, Bo Nix is a good option in fantasy too, right? Yeah. Oh boy. Well, we'll see. You know, maybe Lamar goes for 50 this week against the Browns, and we can make something happen. But yeah, no other changes to make here really. Why do I still have Justice Hill? I should probably drop him for someone else. But oh well. We'll check in on my sleeper leagues now. Yikes. Yeah, this team is reeling a little bit. I've had a lot of lucky wins in this league. Rashad Bateman is out. We got to fix that real quick. I guess. Good Lord. Am I really that thin at receiver right now? Oh, and Downs is on a bye, dude. I'm actually kind of screwed. BTJ might be back though. That's big. Oh boy. Yikers, dude. Let's see. Who can I put in for Downs? I guess Hollywood Brown, but I don't like that. Or I could go Dontavion Wicks. Screw it. I'm gonna do Wicks. He actually had a few big plays last week. I'm still a slight believer in Dontavion Wicks. I guess we'll put in Wicks. And we'll put in Dak over my King Brissett. Oh, he's actually projected for more than Love. Nah, but I feel like Love might actually... You know what? No, we're keeping Brissett in. Screw it. We're going to keep Brissett in. Let's see if I have a shot in this game even. Oh, boy. Diggs got him a lot already. That's kind of tough. But one more lineup to set here. Let's take a look at the Founding Fathers. I've been reeling in this league, too. We got a bench Olave. Marv is also out. Yeah, we're super banged up. Oh, I have to drop players? Okay. Well, let's see what I can do here. Can I move you to the IR? No. Cool. I can move you to the IR, though. Okay. We can do that. Who can we drop? Who do we not need anymore? Oh, I can't move you to the IR because you're playing now. That's tough. Did I screw myself a little bit? Who do I drop? I don't want to drop any of my young guys, right? I want to hold on to them. And that's what really kills me is I screwed up and I didn't move Darren Waller to my IR in time. I don't want to drop Kyle Williams, and I can't because he already played. Oh boy, this is not good. See, and it's like so dumb that I can't Like, dude, my brain is working overtime right now trying to figure out how to do this. Like, I guess I just drop. See, if I drop someone, though, will it still go through if they already played? I might have screwed myself here a little bit. I can't lie. I guess I'll drop Algier. I don't feel great about it, though. That sucks. But we just got to do what we got to do. We'll put in St. Brown for Olave. And then Marv is out. So we'll put in... I kind of want to put in JMO. Do I dare double up on lines receivers? I might. I know, really, really invigorating stuff right now. Really interesting stuff. Me trying to figure out how to do this. There we go. That's more like it. All right. Well, we'll make that work. But there you have it. That was the fantasy hotline. Now we're getting into the fun part right here. Now we're getting into the Sunday slate. We're going to hit every single game today. We're going to even preview the Sunday night and the Monday night games. This will be the only stream that I do this week. We'll be going live again next week. We'll figure out what exactly we're doing for that. I know a few people are asking me in Discord last night if I'm going live for any of the games this week or not. I'm going to give myself the week off from that. We are doing the morning stream though, and then we'll find some times to go live next week too. You know, I'm trying to balance things out a little bit more. I talked a few weeks ago about like mid-season adjustments that I'm trying to make, you know, just trying to figure out how I can make this channel better, how I can manage my time better, because I think that's something that's kind of popped up a little bit as I'm trying to get this next video out. And I think I'll still be doing weekly streams, obviously, but I think I'm going to pick and choose my spots for game streams a little bit more, and also going to be trying to mix in some more streams, kind of like what you saw in the off season too, right? I think I kind of dove into this last week, but so stuff like that, you know, just a few mid-season adjustments is all. Yo, what's up, Parker? Thanks for tuning in, bro. Saying me and Jack will be at the Vikings game. Let's go, dude. Hey, big one, big one. And that is a beautiful segue too, actually, as we get started with our Sunday slate portion here, because that is the first game that we're going to talk about here in a sec. But that's exciting, man. Hey, let's go. That's awesome. Is this the first Vikings game that you guys have been to this year? I'm curious. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I remember Jack mentioning that he might have been going to the game last week. I know back in the summer he had mentioned going to the Vikings-Ravens game potentially. I'm curious if he went to that one or not, but big spot for the Vikings here today. And you know what? Let's just get started. Let's just dive into it. Why not? You guys know the drill at this point. They're my favorite team. They're set that way on ESPN. They've got the star next to them. As I have to fix things real quick. I thought I was going to have a sick transition, but it's okay. 1 second. Bang. There we go. Vikings versus Bears. Vikings 4-5, coming off a tough home loss. I mean, my goodness. Parker's first time in US Bank Stadium. Let's go. Hey, cheers to that, man. Let's go. That's exciting. Beautiful stadium. It really is. Here's what I'll say. I don't want to be over dramatic. I don't want to be too much of a doomer. I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill here, but I truly, genuinely think this could be one of the defining games of the Quasi KOC era right here. This is as big of a spot as it gets. Vikings have their backs against the wall. They're at home against a divisional opponent that has a better record than them, right? And this is a team that's kind of fighting for their playoff lives right now. I mean, it is crazy how much I've swung on this team from 2 weeks ago to now. You know, after that Lions win, I was feeling great. It's like, oh my gosh, JJ is back. Everything is better. Flores and the defense looked great. But just another stinker of a performance last week. 8 false starts at home. Offense just not looking good. Justin Jefferson having maybe the worst game of his career. Vikings running the ball decently well when they were actually running it, but not staying in the run game consistently enough, right? The defense just giving up enough big plays to kind of end the game, you know? So much sloppiness, incredibly frustrating loss. And as I said on Monday, probably the most frustrating part about this Vikings season so far is that this, in my opinion, truly is one of the most win-now teams in the NFL. When you look at their age on their roster, all these big contracts that they've given out, the fact that they don't exactly have a ton of draft picks, they've been able to at least get a few back with some of the trades they made back in August, but This is not a team that has a ton of means to improve the following season, right? This is year 4 of this competitive rebuild. This has been the result of 4 years of building. What we see is what we're going to get. I really struggle to envision a way where the Vikings can significantly improve the roster off of what they have this year, outside of like JJ McCarthy taking a massive leap forward or something like that, right? It's just hard to see them getting much better than where they are right now. So here you go, man. It's mid-November. In your big win now season, you have a losing record. You're at home. I mean, if you lose this game, you drop to 4-6, far and away last place in the division. All of a sudden, it looks like every team in the division has a brighter future than you, right? I mean, the Bears have really, really gotten things going after those first 2 weeks. This is as big of a spot as it gets right here, truly. I think it's going to be a fun, at least for a neutral, I think it's going to be a fun game. I think we're going to see a lot of points. Both these teams can hit a lot of explosives through the air, and both these teams have defenses that can give up a lot of explosive plays. You can pull up a bunch of different numbers that show like, oh, the Bears are top 5 in allowing explosive pass plays, and the Vikings are right there with them, right? Both these teams are dealing with some injuries in the secondary right now. Both these teams struggle in different ways to get pressure, right? I'm seeing now Jonathan Grenard is out for the Vikings. The Bears have kind of had a rough pass rush all season, and the Vikings, a lot of it is just predicated on can Flores cook up these blitzes and like kind of wrinkle the brain of the quarterback, you know? But that's a little bit harder without Grenard now too. I'm going to be real with you, man. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm picking the Bears in this game. I've actually picked the Vikings a lot recently. This is the first time I've picked against the Vikings in a minute, which sounds kind of weird to say. But I don't know. I just think second matchup around, I mean, so much weird stuff happened in this first game. I know it's at home, and this is a big spot for the Vikings. But I don't know. Like, the Bears honestly left a lot on the table against the Vikings back in week 1, I really think, right? Like, yeah, they kind of kept the door open, but you think about even like that fourth quarter, there was DJ Moore wide open down the field and Caleb just missed him, right? Like, the Bears, I mean, even after that big JJ McCarthy rushing touchdown, the Bears immediately answered with a touchdown of their own. They still had some pretty good answers against this Vikings defense. Ben Johnson has shown throughout his career that he's had pretty good answers against Brian Flores. And especially with no Grenard now, I just wonder if the Vikings defense is going to be able to get quite as much pressure up front as they did back in week 1. I think the Bears offensive line is playing a lot better. They've got the run game going now. That's something Minnesota has struggled against. And I really think this could be a big game for Roma Odunze here today, right? Vikings corner room, a little thin, a little small. They can struggle against these bigger receivers. And again, Bears, really good downfield passing game. Vikings have struggled against downfield passes this season. You think about the Eagles game, right? Just all these haymakers to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I think that's something we could see here today. I think the Vikings could certainly have a few answers of their own. They're not afraid to chuck it downfield. Justin Jefferson, I'm challenging you to step up and lock in today, right? He said throughout this week, like, he needs to get back to year 3 Jets. He needs to return to savage mode. He needs to find his love for the game again, stuff like that. Dude, again, I love him. Last week was abysmal. You can't be doing that, right? Poor effort, walking on interceptions, dropping passes. You need to get right today. There is a world where maybe Jefferson comes to life and the passing game is great and this is a shootout and the Vikings are able to win. But I am taking the Bears in this one in a high-scoring game. I'm going to say Chicago wins 30-24. And I'm not going to lie, man. I really hope I'm wrong. But if the Bears win this game, I'm going to be a little sad. So we'll see. But I do like the Bears. I don't know, man. I'm a little surprised the Vikings are 2.5-point favorites. The offense has just been so up and down. Even against maybe a questionable Bears defense, it's like, is this team going to shoot themselves in the foot, have a bad turnover or two, and like completely turn this game on its head? So I hope I'm wrong, but I'm going with the Bears in this one. But I'm curious in chat, what are you guys feeling here today? You guys taking the Bears or the Vikings? One of the bigger games of the week, honestly. I really think so. Maybe that's just me being a Vikings fan, being a little biased towards my favorite team, but I mean, if you're the Bears, all of a sudden, with some of these losses that have happened in the NFC North, you're at least in the race to win the NFC North. And if you're the Vikings, I mean, this is do or die time. I mean, I really think if they lose this game, they drop to 4-6, a divisional loss too. It's going to be a very big uphill battle to make the playoffs, especially when you look at their schedule going forward. So big spot for the Vikings. KOC Quasi, you guys got to have this one, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Let's get to the next one. We got another good divisional game here. Honestly, a game with similar-ish stakes. There's a lot of parallels between the Vikings-Bears game and this game. This is one I'm also kind of excited for. Again, even some of the less sexy matchups, there's still a lot to dive into and dig into. I'm talking about Panthers versus Falcons, another divisional game. And another kind of do-or-die spot, I feel like, for the home team and the Falcons. Similar record to the Vikings. Falcons are 3-6. A loss here would more or less end their season, right? There's no way they're going to be able to turn it around and make the playoffs if they drop to 3-7 with another divisional loss too. Panthers kind of clowned on them first time around. It was a really weird game. It was 30-0, but I say this even as Mr. Panthers, like, it's not like the Panthers just completely and utterly dominated the Falcons in that one. You know, there was some special teams madness. There was a defensive touchdown. The Falcons ended up outgaining the Panthers by like 200 yards or something like that. But it was just a weird, funky game all around. There's a big spot here for the Panthers. I mean, man, talk about heartbreak and bad luck and curses and all that. Last week when I went live, I was talking about how the Panthers had not won a game as a favorite since, what was it, 2021? And of course, they were big favorites against the Saints. I picked them to win, and they lose. Blame it on Meow Mix, right? The Panthers podcast. Now they're 4-point underdogs on the road. That surprises me a little bit. I'm taking the Panthers in this game. This might be crazy. I've actually got the Panthers sweeping the Falcons here now. Going into the season, I thought it'd be a split. I actually really like the Panthers in this game for a couple of reasons. I think this is a pretty tough matchup for Atlanta. And I think that just the way the Panthers go up against this Falcons team, it kind of plays into what they want to do, right? This Panthers offense is honestly pretty good when they can stay in a run-first type of script, right? If they don't go down big, if they can just mash it and then like hit a few things off of play action, but be like a primarily run-first team, this offense is honestly not bad. And they can hit a few things to Tet McMillan. You know, they've got Jalen Coker back now. Bryce has been very up and down, but when they can run the ball, it's been a little bit more up than down. And Dowdle's been so good. And Chuba Hubbard is a nice, I guess he's like a changeup now at this point. It's kind of Dowdle's backfield. But I honestly think this is one of those teams that, like, the Panthers can just mash it on the Falcons, right? This is a very light defense. We saw them get absolutely gashed by the Colts running game last week. And this was something that I was kind of worried about going into the year. You know, they spent all this draft capital and money on getting pass rushers, and that's nice, and you have to get after the quarterback. I totally get that, but it's a lot of speed and finesse, not a lot of mass on this defensive line. They can get pushed around. We've seen them get pushed around plenty. And this Panthers team, man, one of the biggest, meanest, nastiest offensive lines in football. The run game is so sick. I think this is one of those games where they can stay in run-first scripts and keep pounding the ball. And this could be 20 carries for Rico Dowdle. And, man, that's kind of tough if you're the Falcons, right? Like, this is one of those games where, honestly, if I'm the Panthers, if I win the coin toss, I'm choosing to take the ball first. I want the ball first at 0-0, and I'm running it like the first 3 plays and just seeing how it goes, right? If I'm the Panthers, I'm seriously thinking about doing that. And then for the Falcons, it's just like, man, I just struggle to have faith in this offense right now. You never know what version of this offense is going to show up. There's been a few games where it's looked sick, right? I'm not denying that. There's plenty of talent on this team. But it's just been so up and down, and the play calling has been so up and down, and Penix has been very up and down, and even like there are games where they're not getting Bijan the ball. I think J.C. Horn is a pretty good answer for Drake London, at least as good as you can have. I'm not saying he's going to like hold him to 2 catches for 20 yards or anything like that, but it's it shouldn't be a game where like Drake London goes for 200, you know? I feel like that's a great matchup right there, wide receiver versus corner. We'll see how much London's actually on the outside. They'll put him in the slot some too, but I feel like the Panthers might actually have a few decent answers for London, and if it's not London, like no one else is really getting the job done for the Falcons through the air right now. I mean, a little bit of Kyle Pitts, but this is a very thin receiver room. I like this Panthers run defense. They've made a lot of major strides. Getting Derek Brown back has just been huge. I don't know. I think this Panthers team is honestly a pretty good matchup for the Falcons. And even though you could argue the Falcons are a more talented team, I think the gap is a little close. And just when you're looking at the Panthers' strengths and the Falcons' weaknesses, I think it plays into the Panthers. I don't know if it's going to be 30-0, but I've got the Panthers getting the win here. A little bit of an upset pick. Road upset for the Panthers. We'll say 23-16. I don't know. Yeah, 23-16. We'll go with that. I like the Panthers in this one to just grind it out, force a few mistakes, take away the running game. We'll see though. We'll see. They burned me last week, but we'll see. What's up, Kira Cat? Appreciate you tuning in. Saying, hey, Doc. Hey to you, man. Hey, we got a lot to talk about with Denver here in a little bit. Talking about another big divisional game. I'm looking right now at that 4 o'clock window. Oh, baby. Broncos, Chiefs, man. I mean, just it can be easy to forget that game is happening today because there's so much hype around Seahawks, Rams. There's a lot of hype about the Sunday night game. But this Chiefs-Broncos game is huge, too, especially for AFC playoff race and stuff like that. I mean, in Denver, too? Come on, baby. Let's go. You know Mile High is going to be rocking. I'm excited for that one, man. Again, we've got good games all over today. All over. There's another good game we're about to hit right here, too. Oh, baby. Another, I don't want to say forgotten game, but like, in the grand scheme of things, you would think most other weeks this game would get a lot more pop. It's a good one. Bills, Bucks, let's go, baby. 2 6-3 teams. It's a rare AFC NFC matchup. You know, they're actually showing the rerun of the 2023 Thursday night matchup between the Bills and Bucks on NFL Network last night. I saw it on TV at California Pizza Kitchen. But it's in Buffalo. Bills coming off just a weird loss last week to the Dolphins, man. I mean, I picked them to run all over that Miami team. They've had the Dolphins number all season long, but just a weird, bizarre loss for them. Allen didn't play very well. The defense having more troubles. Whew, that's tough. Man, that coffee's hitting right now. I do like the Bills to get a bit of a bounce back here. 6.5 points is a fairly big line, but honestly, I do kind of like Buffalo in this one. Here's my take about this game, and here's something that I find really interesting about this matchup. So, if you go back to, not the last time these two teams played, but the time before that, right? They played on Thursday night in 2023. If we go back to 2021, though, back when Brian Daboll was still there with the Bills, there's his last year there, right? At this point, this was like the peak of the Bills being a super spread it out, like run and gun type of offense, like a lot of shotgun, complete opposite of what they have now, right? I feel like that has been talked about a lot, the evolution of this Bills offense, how they've gone from one of the most spread heavy, gun heavy teams to get under center, get these big jumbo formations, 6 offensive linemen or 3 tight ends, whatever they're feeling, and just pound the rock with James Cook and Josh Allen, couldn't be more different. And a lot of people think that this Bucks-Bills game from 2021, back when Brady was still there, was kind of the breaking point of the Bills needing to pivot away from all this spread out type of stuff, right? Bucks ended up having a huge comeback and winning that game in overtime. I mean, I can't remember the exact stat, but it was like Josh Allen was their leading rusher and had like 8 rushes or whatever, and then it was like Devin Singletary had like 3 carries or something like that. And other than that, it was just shotgun, drop back, throw, Nothing but that. Just super one-dimensional. In a weird way, as much as I've loved this Bills evolution of getting big and mashing it, right? In a weird way, I almost think the key to this game is getting back to that a little bit. When you look at this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, this has always been a great, great run defense. And even last week against the Patriots, yeah, Travion Henderson had a pretty nice game. You know, he had those 2 big runs. You look at the box score and it's like, oh, they really got him. But on a down-to-down basis, if you look at like success rate and the nerdy stuff like that, most of the Patriots' runs were really just like 3 yards in a cloud of dust. It was still very much a good performance from this Buccaneers run defense. Henderson just popped a few big ones, right? This is still a very, very good run defense. And you look at how Tampa Bay usually plays the passing game, right? It's a lot of man coverage and it's a lot of blitzes. That's just what Todd Bowles does. In a weird way, if I'm the Bills, I almost want to come out again in like a lot of shotgun, a lot of, 5 wide, 4 wide, stuff like that, and just throw the ball around the yard. I want to let Josh cook in this game. As great as the run game has been, and I'm not saying completely abandon it. I'm not saying let's go back to the Devin Singletary days and give James Cook 3 carries. But would it kill him if Josh had like 40 passing attempts in this game? I don't know. I think there could be some matchups to be had against this Buccaneers defense. I think this could be a big game for the tight ends going over the middle of the field. Maybe get Khalil Shakir going a little bit. Keon Coleman is a healthy scratch, which is really, really interesting and kind of concerning a little bit considering that he was a first-round pick. And I actually kind of liked him coming out of college, but just hasn't really been able to get going. But I think if you're the Bills, you really want to throw the ball in this one. I think this could be a big game for Josh Allen. I think the Buccaneers have the firepower on offense to hang with the Bills. I don't think the Bills are going to blow them out or anything. And the Bills certainly have a lot to shore up on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, just it's become a problem how bad the spine of this defense is. Cole Bishop is getting picked on. Even Matt Milano's getting picked on a little bit now. He's just older. He's dealt with injuries, right? That's just how it is, So, like the Bucs could certainly get their passing game going. I think Baker could have a pretty good day. Still no Bucky Irving, which is kind of tough because I feel like it would be nice to have him for this game. And I might like Tampa a little bit more if they had Bucky just to get a little bit more explosiveness out of their run game. Maybe get him a screen or something. He should be back soon. I'm kind of surprised how long he's been out, but he should be back soon. But I like Buffalo in this one. I think their offense is going to have a big day. I'm going to say Bills win this one 31-24. I guess the Bucs do cover if it's their No, it's a 7-point game. I can't do math. We'll say Bills win this one 31-24. Big get right game for them here. Still a very good team in Buffalo. They've just got a few things they got to figure out, but we'll see. Kiercat is having a panic attack over it already. I feel you, man. I mean, if the Broncos win that game, if they win that game and they move up to 9-2 with a win over the Chiefs, I mean, you start to have some very interesting conversations about this AFC playoff race, It's one to watch. But let's get into the next game here. We'll see how much time we spend on this one. This is probably one of the least exciting matchups of the week, but it's still something. And Pear Champ, this is something that we might be keeping a pulse on a little bit. You had a spicy take about this team last week, and there's a chance. I'm talking about the Texans taking on the Titans. Pear Champ, you said last week for the Texans-Jaguars game, you gave a nice little spicy take that the winner of that game was going to go on and win the division. Now, the Colts ended up pulling out their game in Germany, but could the Texans maybe go on a little bit of a run here? They have an interesting schedule going forward, but there's a lot of talent on this team. They managed to find a way to win with Davis Mills last week. They've got the Titans this week. They got some tough games up ahead, though, right? Now you're looking at the Bills, Colts, Chiefs. I mean, that is a tough stretch right there. But they have the defense. Maybe Stroud will be back soon. You never know. But as for this game, Texans, Titans, I mean, I feel pretty safe picking the Texans here, even with Davis Mills. This defense is just so legit, man, and they can take over any game. This is just such a mismatch, the line battle, right? Texans pass rush versus this Titans offensive line, even though they've maybe made some slight strides and some of the young guys are at least interesting. It's Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson. So, yeah. And Cam Ward, he's been all right, but he's holding on to the ball a lot. Typical of young quarterbacks, been getting hit a lot. This could be one of those games where Cam Ward gets sacked like 8 times. They get a few turnovers. Even if Davis Mills doesn't go out and play hero ball and like have a crazy scramble with the game on the line like he did last week, I don't know that Houston's going to have to score too many points to win this one. The over-under is at 38.5. And honestly, I still might even think about taking the under. I think if you're Houston, like 21 points wins you this game for sure. That might be all they get. Jeffrey Simmons is back for the Titans, and that's notable because he's on a heater right now. He's having another phenomenal season, and it is the Texans' offensive line, right? It's not like they've been the gold standard of line play either, but I feel pretty good about taking Houston in this one. Their defense is just so good. I think they're going to give the Titans a lot of problems. Well, we won't spend too much time on this one. We'll say Houston wins 21-10. Really sloppy slog of a game. But if you're Houston, if you can get through this Davis Mills stretch with another divisional win, you get Stroud back for these big games. We'll see. Winning the division is spicy, but could they still sneak into the playoffs maybe? It's not impossible. Somehow, some way. They dug themselves quite the hole to begin the year, but when you have a defense like that, you can tread water for a little bit. So we'll see. All right. Next game. Another one of the less exciting games, if you will, but it's still something, right? We've got a team coming off a bad primetime loss. There's some questions swirling around leadership right now, questions swirling around their head coach versus a team with an interim coach who has a different quarterback taking over now. Packers versus Giants. There's been reports that Matt LaFleur is now coaching for his job. And, I think that's maybe caught some people off guard, surprised a lot of people. And to an extent, I get it. LaFleur rightfully has a very high reputation amongst NFL coaches, right? Well-regarded offensive mind, comes from the best coaching tree of all time, and his win-loss record speaks for itself, and the way that he's been able to seamlessly transition from Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love, right? There's a lot of good stuff you can say about Matt LaFleur. But as I tweeted out earlier this week, it's at least like kind of plausible that his seat is like a little bit hot, right? Because if you're Green Bay, they're 5-3-1. If we're going to be honest, man, they should be 5-4 right now, right? If the ball bounced off of Jack Sanborn and just held in the air for like a second longer, right? The Packers are 5-4 with an embarrassing loss to the Cowboys, Like, they are very lucky to have that one tie right now. And this is a team with great expectations coming into the year, right? They swung a huge trade to get Micah Parsons, Super Bowl expectations, saw the division is wide open, and then they have that big win against the Lions week 1. But the truth is, like, save for that Lions game, this is a team that has not really performed all that well in these big spots. That's what I was talking about on Monday night. I was like, let's see it. Let's see you knock off a big team. Let's see you win a big game and not come out flat. And again, just an anemic performance from the offense, just nothing going. And, questions about, are they running the ball too much? They need to open things up. The offense is starting to feel maybe just a little stale. The defense certainly feels a lot better than the offense right now. The defense is Super Bowl caliber. The offense is not there. They're 5-3-1. And, they could end up third in this division. Like, if they miss the playoffs, yeah, I'm not saying they should fire LaFleur straight up, but I don't think it's crazy that his seat is a little hot right now. This has just happened maybe one too many times for it to be like, oh, his job is safe for 10 years, Now, that being said, against the Jameis Winston Giants, this should be another one of those games where the defense takes over. We all know how Jameis likes to play, right? He's going to chuck it. He's going to just, do whatever. He's going to give in to his intrusive thoughts. This is not a good defense to do that against. With all the weird exotic stuff that Jeff Hafley, their DC, does, with how sick this pass rush is, with how many ball hawks they have in the secondary, and even some of their linebackers, right? Jameis might hit a big play or two, but also he could throw like 4 picks in this game, and they don't even have neighbors that they can chuck it down to either. This is a very banged up receiving room right now. There's no Cam Scadaboo. They can't run the ball as well anymore either. Man, I don't know. The Giants might score like 7 points in this game. This is an interesting test for Green Bay's offense, especially their offensive line, which has had bit of an up and down season, right? Maybe not as good as you'd quite expect going up against a very talented Giants pass rush. But they should be able to at least make it work, and this defense should be able to get the job done for them. I'm going to say Packers win this one. We'll say 23-7, man. I don't think it's going to be a very good day for the Giants offense. I really don't. And, man, the team of Dr. Pigskin is just a kiss of death. It's just a kiss of death. But, oh well. All right. Oh, okay. I'm looking ahead now. We've got another interesting game to talk about here. A lot of divisional games today, I've noticed. This is a good one. And another important one. You know, I would say, man, there's one team that's fighting for their playoff lives and another, they're both kind of fighting for their playoff lives a little bit right now. One more dramatic than the other, but this is an interesting game. Interesting game. Bengals, Steelers. Oh, what the heck? I clicked on the wrong game. That's crazy. Oopsies. But don't worry. We'll get to that game in a sec. I think I'm a little too excited for that one right now. Here we go. Bengals, Steelers. That's better. Bengals, Steelers. Steelers coming off of a very, very tough loss on primetime Sunday Night Football against the Chargers last week. And I got to say, this offense feels like it's maybe starting to unravel a little bit. Just a little bit. Vibes are not great in Pittsburgh right now. They still have a winning record. They're still 5-4, but you've got another team in the AFC North that's kind of nipping at their heels a little bit. There's a reason the Ravens were like 50-50 odds to win this division, even when they were 1-5. Interesting matchup here with the Bengals. What's up, Mile Marker? Appreciate you tuning in. Good morning, Doc and fans. Let's go. Love the Lions emoji as well. You know, we'll get to your Lions in a sec. I'm excited to talk about this Lions-Eagles game tonight. Should be a good one. I think that could be a very important game here in the NFC, but appreciate you tuning in, man. Let's go. Bengals, Steelers. Okay. So we saw these two teams play once already on Thursday Night Football, and it was a very curious game plan for the Steelers defense. Their corners got absolutely torched by these Bengals receivers. This was like the big Joe Flacco game, right? And it was just, they were just giving so much cushion, so many easy looks to Jamar Chase. And the Bengals were like, sure, Jamar Chase got targeted like 21 times. He was just such a mismatch against all these corners. Just such a weird game plan. I mean, even Bengals players are talking about like, it was predictable. Like, this is what they've done all year. This is what they've done like forever with Mike Tomlin. Like, we knew what they were going to do. We were going to come out and attack it. And the Steelers offense had a pretty good performance in that game, but, the Bengals were able to win the shootout. So here we are now, just about a month later, but the Steelers, to their credit, have made a few major adjustments on their defense. Most notably, they have more or less converted Jalen Ramsey to safety full-time now, and this is a move that I think some people have seen coming for a while. Some people wanted him to be a safety, even coming out of college, right? He's always had a good safety skill set with how good he is in zone, his ball skills, and his willingness to tackle. Like, he very much has the skill set of a safety, but just maybe corner was a little bit more valuable, so you played him there. And he's been pretty good in that role so far, I gotta say. I think that's improved things a little bit for the Steelers defense. Oh, I've been tempted to pick the Bengals in this one, to be honest with you, still, because I just think I do not trust the Cincy defense whatsoever, but I'm also not like feeling great about the Steelers offense right now either. I mean, just things are starting to unravel just a little bit, I think, with like how quickly Rodgers gets the ball out, and the big plays haven't been quite hitting as well. Like, they had a few shots to DK Metcalf last week, just weren't able to hit him, right? I don't know. This is starting to become a slightly frustrating unit to watch. This could be a good get-right spot. I mean, going against the Bengals defense, they're not exactly good, but I think Cincy could put up plenty of points still against the Steelers defense. I don't trust them right now either. I am curious to see what impact these adjustments will have. I have to imagine that Ramsey at safety is going to be just on whatever side of the field Chase is on, right? But then that leaves Higgins in a favorable matchup against these other Steelers corners. Oh, I honestly go back and forth on this one. I'm going to take the Steelers, though, at home. I think Mike Tomlin will get them right, at least for this spot. I mean, Trey Hendrickson is still out for the Bengals. Maybe Rodgers will be able to get the ball out a little bit slower than just like 1 second or whatever, right? Maybe they can like try and have a little bit more of a serious drop back passing game and not just, spraying all these quick passes, because this Bengals pass rush without Hendrickson is absolutely hopeless. And I guess it's fair to say that they didn't have Hendrickson in the previous matchup either, and they won that one, but I don't know. I think it could be close. I'm not exactly counting out the Bengals in this one. Like, I could see them still having a similar game to what they had in the previous matchup, even with some of these adjustments the Steelers have made on defense, but we'll go Pittsburgh here. If the Bengals win this one, though, I mean, Burrow might be coming back soon. You at least think about, like, could they go on a run and, like, maybe sneak in as a wild card team? Probably not, but, But if the Steelers lose this game, dude, I honestly think they're cooked. Like, the Ravens are for sure going to win the division. I think the Ravens are going to get them either way, but if they lose this game, man, it might be over for them, man. It's not looking good right now in Pittsburgh. I don't know. That Sunday night game was just so discouraging for Pittsburgh, I really feel like. I don't want to be too much of a downer on them, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Good question from Pear Champ. We'll hit this before we go on to our next game here. Asking, which side of the league do I think is more open for a team to run through on a Super Bowl run, the AFC or the NFC? That is a good question. I'm going to say the AFC right now, honestly, just because I think in years past, it's felt like the three teams at the top. Here's what's tough, right? Here's what's tough about the AFC is that I feel like the three top dogs, as in the Chiefs, Bills, and Ravens, feel a little bit more vulnerable. All three of them do feel a little bit more vulnerable this year than in years past. However, there's not a lot of other teams in the AFC that I feel great about right now. I mean, I guess the Patriots, right? Like, they're 9-2 at this point. You have to take them seriously. Their quarterback is so good. Their run defense is legit. Like, I still think, like, when push comes to shove, though, if it's like Patriots versus Ravens, I'm taking the Ravens. If it's Patriots versus Chiefs, I'm taking the Chiefs, but like, they're at least an option. But I mean, like, the Chiefs are 5-4, the Ravens are 4-5, and the Bills are 6-3. And all three of those teams have pretty serious issues that could end up costing them in the playoffs, right? So I think that's what makes the AFC interesting. However, I mean, even like the Chargers are 7-3, but like, man, that offensive line just feels like a ticking time bomb, and like they've performed better than I thought they would, and they're not a bad team by any means. Obviously, they're probably going to make the playoffs, but I do wonder if we'd see something similar to what we saw last year, where they get into the playoffs and it's like, oh, now they're playing against the top defense and they just can't do anything. Like, the line just gets worked and that's it, So I am going to say the NFC, I guess, just because there are so many good teams in the NFC right now. I feel like that's what makes it so open, right? You've got the Lions, you've got the Eagles, you've got the Seahawks, you've got the Rams, you've got the Bucks, I'll say the NFC is a little bit more open right now. Even like the Bears are hanging around at 6-3. The Packers could lock in and like actually perform up to their talent still, So we'll say the NFC. I think there are more teams that I could picture making the Super Bowl in the NFC than I could the AFC. And I feel like that's a good way to tackle that question. That's a good question, Pear Champ. Appreciate it. We got Ryan Asty in here as well. Good morning to you, man. Appreciate you tuning in. Hashtag go Bucks indeed. You just missed it. We hit on the Bills-Bucks game earlier. I think it's going to be a close game. Unfortunately, I am going to pick the Bills in this one. I do think this is going to be a big game for Josh Allen, but I like the Bucks to hang in there and keep it close, right? I don't think the Bills are going to run away with this one by any means. And I mean, with how the Bills defense is playing, like they could certainly, do something stupid and like Baker goes off, like they'll have their hands full. So I think it's going to be a good game. I think if you're the Bucks, if you're a Bucks fan, if they come in and play competitive, you feel good about that. Obviously, you'd like to try and find a way to win, but this is a good test for them, right? You want to hang in there with one of the top dogs. You want to hang in there with the reigning MVP. So it'll be a fun game either way. Late for the grid. Yeah. You're all good, bro. You're all good, man. I didn't have my best performance today, so you didn't miss anything. I unfortunately thought that James Casey played for the Texans. and or the Browns. See, I don't know why I thought like I don't know. I swear that he played for those teams, but he didn't. It's okay. James Casey is like such a weird player to get hung up on too. All right, we've got one more game here for the 1 o'clock window. Another interesting game. Two teams that could make the playoffs potentially. Two teams that I don't feel great about, but there's one team I feel better about than the other. This is a fun little playoff rematch from a few years ago. That is the Chargers and the Jaguars. Man, the Jaguars are just coming off of truly, I think probably one of the worst losses of the season so far. I mean, blow a 19-point lead in the fourth quarter to Davis Mills and the Texans. Man, for that defensive line to get nothing against that Texans offensive line, man, for this offense to just feel so like all over the place and just still making all these silly mistakes and, like I gotta own up to it, man. Like I've been Mr. Trevor Lawrence. He has not been that great this year. He really is not. And you do wonder, like, you just look at some of the frustrations that you can see on the sideline with his coaching staff. You wonder if like Liam Cohen wants to bring in his own guy under center. Truly, like that might sound crazy. He's got that big fat contract. I'm not going to lie, though. Trevor Lawrence has been quite disappointing this year. And I know there's been like injuries with the receivers and stuff, but it's like, man, this was his year to really like finally show out. He got a new coach. They bring in these receivers and it has not been good enough. It is not, So we'll see. We'll see. BTJ should be back. That'll be nice. I mean, he's had such a rough season, but he's still got all the talent in the world. No Travis Hunter, though, which is just such a bummer. He's done for the rest of the year. And it was a weird rookie season for him, but you felt like maybe he was starting to turn the corner just a tiny bit. I am picking the Chargers in this one. I know I just spent so much talking about like how I don't trust. I mean, truly, like with the injuries that they have now, they truly might have the worst offensive line in football. I mean, PFF grades aren't everything, right? There's way more to it than just that. But like, it was pretty funny seeing the Sunday Night Football intros last week, and they're doing the Chargers offensive line, and like every single one of them was like in the 30s for the PFF grade. I mean, like that kind of matches up with the eye test a little bit again. Like it's not always perfect like that, but it's like, yeah, this team probably does have like the 30th best center. This team probably does have like the 30th best left guard, like it's pretty bad, dude. It is pretty bad. So if you're the Jaguars, like you got to pray, like can Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen do what they couldn't do last week and take over a game against an inferior offensive line, right? Can they get that? They did not get that last week. And that's really what this defense is built on. The turnovers that they were getting to start off the year are drying up. That wasn't sustainable. I mean, that's just math, regression, right? You're not going to get 3 interceptions every game the whole season, So can you get stops other ways? The other way this team can really get stops is getting after the quarterback. It's possible against this offensive line, but I still think like Herbert's been playing great. I mean, he had an awesome game on Sunday night against the Steelers. They finally got Ladd McConkey going now. He's returned to being the clear top dog in this receiver room, which I think is the right call. And he's just such a mismatch against this Jaguars secondary. I think Herbert's going to have a big game, and I just cannot trust this Jaguars offense right now. I don't know, man. I have very little faith in him to do anything. Ryan Asty clowning on Liam Cohen right there, thinking with his superior run game he can hold a lead. I mean, turns out, and I don't even think like Cohen has been bad. Like I still think schematically he's doing some cool things, and like he's doing his best right now. I think he's doing an all right job. But yeah, like turns out the run game isn't quite as sick when you don't have like at worst the third best offensive line leading the way. Turns out that ETN and Bashal Tutin maybe isn't quite as good as Bucky Irving. Although ETN's been pretty good this year, but I mean, turns out those screens don't hit quite as hard when it's not, Bucky Irving making 5 guys miss in the open field. So there's been a little bit of drop off, but it's early with the Cohen tenure, but just so many mental mistakes. And I'm sorry, like I'm getting frustrated with the Jags. I've been Mr. Jaguars for the longest time. It's starting to drive me crazy a little bit. I just keep buying into this team, and they just keep doing stupid things. I don't know what else to say. So, yeah, I'm picking against them here. I like the Chargers to get a big road win. 8-3 would be crazy. Again, like I've been so hard on the Chargers all season. Like there is a lot to like. Their defense is well coached. They have an unbelievable quarterback. The receiver room is coming along nicely. I mean, Jim Harbaugh always gets his boys right, but 8-3, man. Potentially. But I like the Chargers here. We'll say the Chargers have a big day on offense. We'll say 33-20 for the Chargers. Big win, I guess. But I don't know, man. I'm done with the Jags, man. I'm sure I'll pick them to make the playoffs again next season somehow. I'll talk myself into them again, but I'm getting sick of this team. I am, dude. They just make me so mad because I know they can be better and I want them to be good, but what can you do? All right. Shall we do this? Should we go to the main event? It's next on our schedule. We're going to do it. This is the crown jewel of what is a great Sunday slate. Truly. There's good games beyond just this one, right? But this is the crown jewel. Okay, didn't say no more Jags. It's true. We'll see. Appreciate you tuning in, by the way, bro. Let's go. We'll see. Intervention is probably needed. I said this past off season, I can't do it again, and then I did it again, and all right. Let's go, baby. Seahawks, Rams in Los Angeles, Week 11. First time these two teams have met this season. They'll meet again later in the year, but this could very well be the biggest, most important game of the regular season. This game could very well determine who is the 1 seed and who goes on the road in the first round of the playoffs. You could argue that these are the 2 best teams in the NFL. If you're into this kind of thing, per DVOA, they are. The Seahawks are number 1, the Rams are number 2. These are 2 teams that are great on both sides of the ball. I think it could be easy to think, the Rams have the elite offense and the Seahawks have the elite defense, right? If you look at most metrics, the Rams have a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense. If you look at most metrics, the Seahawks have a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense. Unbelievable coaching matchup. I mean, truly, this just gets me going so much, dude. Caden, to quote you, I'm about to turn into a bird over this game, right? This is an unbelievable matchup on every single front. Oh, come on, man. Let's go. Mile marker's saying, let's go, Hawks. I respect it, right? Oh, I have gone back and forth so much on who I'm going to pick for this game. And truly, I've talked myself into both these teams winning this game. This is just such a cool matchup. I kind of want to pick the Seahawks, which might be crazy, right? Because I'm Mr. Rams fanboy and I'm Mr. Matthew Stafford fanboy. And don't get me wrong, I think that for the picks competition, I do have the Rams picked, but I'm really starting to think the Seahawks might win this game. Here's what I'll say. I think schematically speaking, if you just want to dive into the pure X's and O's standpoint of it, I honestly think the Seahawks are a pretty tough matchup for the Rams. When you look at some of the stuff that Seattle does well on defense and on offense, right? This Seahawks defense is unbelievable against the run. They're good against the run, both against light formations and heavy formations. The Rams have shown that they can do both. This is one of the cool, nerdy, schematic trends going on right now is the Rams using all these heavy formations, all these 3 tight end sets. We saw it a bunch last week, right? Against the 49ers. Rams trot out 3 tight ends. They've got a really good tight end room and they get you in similar to the Seahawks, right? They get you into base defense and they can either mash it on the ground and get a 6-yard run with Kyron Williams, or they get Matthew Stafford to drop back against a heavy formation on defense, and all of a sudden it's Puka Nakua's on a linebacker, rut-row, They shred man coverage now with Devontae Adams, there's just not a lot you can do against the Rams. But I will say, LA's run game has been a lot better this year. That's been probably one of the biggest improvements that they've made on offense, right? This was a middle of the road run game for the Rams last year. It's been a lot better this year because the offensive line has been healthier and because of the heavy formations and the 3 tight end stuff. Kyron's still not explosive, but like he's efficient. He's good. He'll move the chains. He'll set you up for like 3rd and 2. Welcome, Jack, by the way, saying go Hawks. Well, you're going to like what I'm about to say. Something that's been talked about on a couple different podcasts and stuff, and just something if you dig into this matchup a little bit, right? Seattle is one of those teams that I think can match the Rams no matter what type of formation they come out in. If they come out with 3 tight ends, or if they come out with the classic Sean McVay 11 personnel, where it's 1 tight end and the receivers and all that, right? This Seahawks defense is so versatile. They're so strong up front. They've got so many dogs in the secondary, and they're so well coached. Just statistically speaking, they are equally good against heavy formations and lighter formations. And so, like they have a good answer no matter what the Rams do today. And so that's why this first quarter is going to be so interesting. Like these two teams feeling each other out, especially when the Rams are on offense and the Seahawks are on defense. Like these two teams are just going to be, it could be a bit of a slow first quarter. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if it's 0-0 after the first quarter, just because these two teams are feeling each other out. But then I think things will start to pick up as adjustments are made, right? So I think Seattle might be able to take away the Rams' running game better than any other team that's played them this year. And, the stat, Jack. Exactly. I feel like I know what podcast you pulled that from because I also listened to it this week. You're absolutely right, Jack. You're absolutely right. 3.2 yards per carry against heavy formations. Insane. Truly insane, right? And I think Ernest Jones is going to be a go for this game, which would be massive for the Seahawks as well. Man, this is just such a sick defense. I do think a likely outcome of this game is that the Rams are forced to just drop back and spray the ball around the yard. And I mean, hey, this is one of the this is a good offense to do that with, right? With the way Stafford is playing right now and how good these receivers are. I think even if Seattle takes away the Rams run game, like that's not going to like crater them, but it is going to complicate things a little bit more, right? It will. I think the biggest thing might be that this is such a good test for the Seahawks offensive line. One that's played pretty well this year. And again, like I called Gray Zabel like my rookie of the year last week, right? This has been a very good line that's improved a lot. This might be the biggest test they get all season, going up against what is probably maybe the best defensive line in football, truly, with this Rams D line, right? Like, just 1 through 5, dude, they are sick. They are so good. These are probably 2 of the 3 best defensive lines in football going against each other. You could say the same thing about the Seahawks. Just sick how well built these teams are up front on defense. This is a big game for Sam Darnold to see if he can handle the pressure, and he's played phenomenal this year. But this Rams defensive line did give him a lot of issues last year, and I'm curious what kind of game plan Chris Shula and this Rams defense is going to have for JSN. You have to imagine there's going to be a lot of attention on him, and I like your point, Jack, that this could be a big Shaheed game. This could be a game where he gets a shot play like 70-yard touchdown that completely flips the game on its head, because I think so much attention is going to be on JSN, and this is why they went out and got Rashid Shaheed. Dude, I'm doing it. I'm picking the Seahawks in this game. I'm switching my pick right now. I'm picking the Seahawks, man. I really think there's a world like this could be the Matthew Stafford MVP game if the Rams are able to win this one, right? I really think a lot of this game is going to come down to, can the Rams throw the ball for like 350 yards? And I don't doubt that they can. Like, they certainly have it in them, but the Seahawks defense is unbelievable, dude. And Mike McDonald has had a really good track record against the McVay-Shanahan coaching tree. I'm taking the Seahawks in this one. I really am. I think that Shaheed could get going, hit a few big plays, and I don't know, the Seahawks might be able to force a turnover too. Oh, I'm gonna say this is gonna be a good game that comes down to the end. I'm gonna say the Seahawks pull this one out, 27-24. I'm not gonna lie. When I first looked at this game, like on Monday, I was like, oh, the Rams probably got this. And I really like. I'm looking right now at the ESPN matchup predictor. I'm shocked it's 61% for the Rams, 38% for the Seahawks. I really think this is like a 50-50 coin flip type of game right here. This is just football at its best, though. But I'm gonna pick the Seahawks. I'm surprising myself a little bit, but I think this could be the Mike McDonald game that gets him Coach of the Year pop right here. We'll see though, man. We'll see. What are you guys feeling in chat here? Seahawks or Rams? Pearchamp says Rams are still my Super Bowl favorite this year. Oh yeah, I mean even if they drop this game, right, they should still be treated as a legit Super Bowl threat. I kind of like that take, to be honest with you. I mean they've got all the ingredients of a Super Bowl winning team. They have an elite quarterback. They have unbelievable receivers, and the defensive line is just so good. And really, the defense has been good this year. Like even with not necessarily stellar secondary, like the defense is performing really, really well this year. It's a good unit, and they're so well coached. So regardless of who wins this game, like I think you still got to take both these teams seriously as Super Bowl contenders. Kira Cat's got the Seahawks too. Let's go. I think a lot of people are on the Seahawks. I'm a little surprised that ESPN's matchup predictor had that type of gap between these two teams. I was a little surprised by that. Ryan Asti asking if I've covered the Panthers game. Remember that the podcast is back. It's the only reason the Panthers are starting to lose again. I did hit the Panthers game earlier. Crazily enough, I actually picked them to win that game. That's one of my upsets of the week right there. The Panthers going on the road and knocking off the Falcons. I just think they're going to be able to mash it. I don't trust this Falcons run defense. And quite honestly, I don't really trust their offense right now either. And I think the Panthers run defense might be able to take away Bijan at least a little bit, you know. But yes, Meow Mix kind of doomed them, and they still haven't won a game as a favorite since 2021. Still hasn't happened yet. Oh yeah, backwards hat, dude. Dude, if the Rams win this game, the hat is going on unbelievably backwards. More backwards than it's ever been. Oh man, yeah, Denver's got to be up there too for best defensive line in football. Absolutely, Kira Cat, you're totally right, man. Dude, their D line is sick too. We'll get to Denver in a second. All right, here we go. Next game, another important one. We're staying in the NFC West, right? Again, maybe not a big time matchup, but it's one that matters a lot. Cardinals 49ers. Cardinals 49ers, my king, my Lord and Savior, under center for the Cardinals once again. You know, I pulled out the Cardinals hat last week. Kind of got burned a little bit. They got blown out. But for those of you that tuned in to the top of the stream, at the very beginning of the show, I said there was a lot to talk about. I already gave my Vikings speech. I already talked about the game of the year. I said I had an upset pick. And it wasn't Panthers-Falcons. It's this one. I might be stupid. I might be crazy. This is my big upset pick of the week right here. I know I got burned by the Cardinals last week. I know, dude. The final score was rough. And yes, they got overrun by Seattle. Whatever, right? Here's my cope. Is that honestly, the beginning of the game got so out of hand, but outside of the first quarter, granted they went down 28-0, right? The Cardinals looked all right in that game. That might sound stupid, but honestly, they looked all right in that game. And honest to goodness, dude, here's the thing. The 49ers are 6-4 right now. Brock Purdy is back, and this looks like a team that's on its way to the playoffs. They have a very favorable schedule this year, right? And I'm looking at their schedule now. It's man, they don't have a ton of tough games the rest of the way. But I'm going to be real honest with you, man. I'm still not 100% sold on this team making the playoffs. They're just so injured now. I really don't trust this defense whatsoever. I think this is going to be one of the worst defenses in the NFL the rest of the way. A lot of it's just injuries, right? Players that they've lost. But they were very top heavy going into the year. And that's the price you pay for not having good depth. Obviously, any defense is going to be screwed losing Bosa and Warner, but especially the 49ers, you know? Dude, this might be stupid, but I honestly think this could be a good bounce-back game for the Cardinals, even without Marvin Harrison Jr. I think they might be able to get the run game going a little bit more. I mean, they might be able to get Trey McBride going some, right? Again, just no Fred Warner. That just leaves such a huge hole in the middle of the field for this defense. We saw the Rams just abuse these linebackers last week. And I think the Cardinals are another one of those teams that can get big and then throw out of it, right? They can get big, they can get these multiple tight ends out there and then just hit you off a play action. And with no Fred Warner, man, 49ers are not well equipped to deal with that. Call me stupid. I still think Jacoby played decent. Against the Seahawks. The biggest thing was you saw, like, yeah, he doesn't have the athleticism to escape the rush, and that's what led to the strip sacks and stuff. But at least throwing the ball, I still thought he played decent. And this 49ers defense is significantly worse than Seattle. On the offensive side of the ball for the 49ers, Brock Purdy is back. And in a weird way, here's what's interesting, right? Obviously, Brock Purdy is more talented than Mac Jones. And the big thing, we're going to talk about escaping the rush, right, is that Purdy adds a little bit more athleticism and can do a little bit more out of structure than Mac Jones can. I think it's also fair to say that Purdy is not necessarily elite in structure. He doesn't color inside the lines as much. And I do think that, like, there might be a big change, a big adjustment to make stylistically going from Mac Jones for like a month and a half to Brock Purdy again. Like, it's a slightly different offense that you have to try and run. And I don't know, man, like maybe I'm not saying that like Jones is better than Purdy. He's not, right? But I do think that like we could see first game back from Purdy, like there could be a few growing pains here and there. And I still kind of like this Cardinals defense a little bit, you know? I think they're well coached and I kind of like some of the young talent they got coming through. Walter Nolan's looked pretty good. Josh Sweat's had a good year. Like Will Johnson's been pretty good. I still kind of like this Cardinals defense. It's in Arizona. It's at home. I honestly think this Cardinals team is a tough matchup for the 49ers, especially with all the injuries on defense. I'm taking the Cardinals in this one. I honestly think they could pull off the upset here. And while I'm going to calm down on this whole, they still have a shot to be a wild card team at 3-6, probably not anymore, right? This could be a game that potentially keeps the 49ers out of the playoffs. This is just something I've got my eye on for the rest of the season. I'm still just not fully bought into this team being a playoff team. And the defensive injuries are a big reason why. I mean, no Michael Williams either. They're just so light right now. I don't know, man. I don't know if the Cardinals are going to score 42 on them like the Rams did, but we'll say Cardinals win 30-23. This is my big upset of the week right here. I'm going back to the Cardinals. Well, I got burned last time. We're going to try one more time here. If they lose this game, it's like, all right, I got to chill. But there's a reason I kept Jacoby Brissett in my starting lineup in one of my fantasy leagues this week. I think this could be a decent game for their offense. Decent get-right game. We got Ryan Asty with some big news in the Bucs-Bills game. Keon Coleman is a healthy scratch. Yeah, I saw that. I mean, it's very interesting, right? I mean, this is year 2 for a first-round receiver. He had that awesome game week 1, but he's been very quiet since then and just not really – he's not played as well as I thought he would. I honestly kind of liked him coming out of FSU, but I don't know, man. It's not looking good for him. I wonder if like a change of scenery might be coming for him soon because healthy scratch in that receiver room is not necessarily great news, to be honest with you. So – yeah. Okay, fair champ. You might be right, unfortunately. He's going to throw 3 touchdowns and 300 passing yards. I mean, it's possible, right? He has the big playability in him. I don't know. The 49ers have been running a certain type of offense for like a month and a half now with Mac Jones, where it's like, it is super structured. And that's kind of what Kyle likes. Am I wrong? Like that's Kyle's dream right there, is that the quarterback is literally just his puppet, his avatar, right? Like he's just controlling him from the sideline. That's not Purdy's game. That's not what Purdy likes to do. Purdy could not be more different stylistically from Mac Jones. And I do wonder if just like first game back, there might be a hiccup or two, right? And we might see a few think pieces of like, is Purdy? It's like, okay, like Mac Jones is probably not better than Brock Purdy, but it's just, I don't know. There could be some interesting conversations. I don't know. But yeah, he also could just go crazy. So yeah. But let's get to the next game. Another divisional game. Man, this is like divisional week here in the NFL. But this one probably won't spend a ton of time talking about. I mean, I don't know. I think I have a good feeling of how this game is going to go. But you never know. Sometimes these matchups can be wonky. But the Ravens, after their 1-5 start, have won 3 in a row. Lamar is back. They're looking a little bit more serious. And this is the type of game that they got to win if they are going to, try and make this push for the division, right? We've seen a few funky Browns upset the Ravens games over the past few years. They can't stumble again here. I mean, they do. even though the Steelers are kind of reeling right now, if you're the Ravens, you got to be locked in the rest of the season after the hole you dug yourselves into. Lamar was dealing with some injuries earlier on in the week. I know he missed practice for a day or two throughout the week, but he should be good to go. He's playing phenomenal right now. He didn't even have his best game necessarily last week against the Vikings. I thought the Vikings defense honestly put up a pretty good fight against him, but again, he made enough big plays when it mattered to get the job done. And the Browns defense is nice. They're not bad. They could give a few challenges, but also these two teams met earlier on in the year and the Ravens hung 40 on them, I think they probably won't hit 40 this time around, but they could still get the 30. He's just so good, man. He's such a good thrower of the football. Even with some of the questions in the Ravens receiver room, even with Derrick Henry not being quite as dominant this year, this is still a really, really good offense. The defense is starting to come together just a little bit more now. And even though I still kind of see the vision with the Browns a little bit, right? I do like a lot of their young players. At the end of the day, this is the Dylan Gabriel offense, and it's just extremely limited right now. And unless Myles Garrett gets 5 sacks and a fumble recovery touchdown, I just don't think the Browns have enough juice to really hang in on this game. I'll take the Ravens in this one. We'll say 30-13. How about, I don't know, 30-13. We'll go with that. Big day for Lamar. We'll say 3 touchdowns or something like that. But don't have a ton to say about this game. I feel like most people would probably agree with me and be on the Ravens in this one. Only 3% of ESPN Pick'em players have picked the Browns, which checks out. All right, we've got a few more games here. Last game of the 4 o'clock window. Another great one. Here you go, Kira Cat. It's time to talk about your Denver Broncos. Another big divisional game taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. And man, this is a big spot right here. If you're Denver and you're trying to go and win this division, right? You're 8-2 right now. You've built up a nice cushion against the Chiefs. Here's your spot to actually go out and beat them. They're coming off sort of a half bye week, right? They had their Thursday night game, get a little bit of extra time to rest and get right. Chiefs coming off a full bye, though. It's in Denver. Kansas City, 4.5-point road favorites, which is kind of interesting. I got to say, I do like the Chiefs in this one, which it's not the hottest take in the world. I do think Denver could put up a pretty good fight. Their defense is phenomenal. Even though the Chiefs' offensive line has been better, I would still give the slight advantage in the trenches to the Broncos, and especially on the other side of the ball. Broncos line versus Chiefs pass rush, I like the Broncos offensive line. But no Pat Surtain could be a big, big deal in this game. Honestly, if Surtain was playing, I would actually think about picking the Broncos in this one. I struggle with this offense right now a little bit. They're just so limited in the passing game, right? So much of it is just, we have to hit these rollouts. We have to hit these sprint outs. We have to get something going off of these screens. And then we have 4 shot plays a game and we have to hit them. Otherwise, there's just not a lot of consistency in this offense right now. Also, no J.K. Dobbins for the Broncos either, which I think is worth noting because he's been playing really well. And I think the biggest thing you can do to attack this Chiefs defense right now is run on them a little bit, right? You can run on this team a little bit. And, Sean Payton's a good coach. The line is great. But Dobbins, I think, has definitely been their best back so far. Losing him is a big deal. It totally is. I don't know, man. And it's just I could pull up all these stats on the Chiefs coming off a bye week, right? Andy Reid has been always great coming off a bye. Steve Spagnuolo has been great coming off a bye. I think this Chiefs team is a lot better than their record would suggest. I still think they've got a really good shot to go and win this division. This is a game they got to get, though, if they are going to win the division. It's just so weird seeing them at 5-4 right now. They've just lost so many close, weird games, right? You think about that Jaguars game, just a lot of weird stuff, right? That Eagles game, they totally could have won. And I think this Chiefs offense is starting to get right a little bit. Everything is starting to make sense and come into place. Rashee Rice is back. Xavier Worthy can play a more fitting role for him now. Kelsey's in a more fitting role for him now. The run game has come together a little bit. No Pacheco, but low-key, respectfully, that could almost be a good thing for them today. I like to see Brashard Smith get going a little bit in this game. And Mahomes is playing great. He really is. He should be in the MVP conversation. With no Surtain, I am going to give the slight edge to the Chiefs offense here to get the job done. We'll say Chiefs win. It'll be a close one, but we'll say Chiefs win 25-22. Chiefs eke one out here, but big game, big stakes in this one. I'm excited for it. All right, we've got a few left here. We've got one good game and one not so good game left. We'll hit the good game first. We are going in order after all. Sunday Night Football. Could be a potential playoff preview. Two teams with Super Bowl aspirations. Two of the best teams in the NFC. Great matchup. Lions, Eagles. I like it. Lions, Eagles in Philly. Another game that could potentially determine the 1 seed. Philly, there's always something going on with them, right? They won 10-7, but it was a stinker. It was an ugly game, right? People are upset with the offense right now. A.J. Brown is sad and mad and disappointed and blah, 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 you know. But they're still 7-2. Despite all this, despite all the think pieces, they're still 7-2. Lions benched their offensive coordinator. Dan Campbell stepped in. He had the glasses on. Called a great game against the Commanders last week, right? Still very much, one of the best teams in the NFL. I actually like the Eagles in this one. Sorry, mile marker. I know we got the Lions emojis, right? Motor City Dan Campbell calling, hopefully. I do think this could be a pretty good game. I actually like the Eagles in this one, though. I think this could be a big game for Philly's defense. I think this is a game that I would have picked the Lions to win last year potentially, but we've still seen this some, and I know I keep coming back to this, but it's just something that's been on my radar all season, and it hasn't, for the most part, it hasn't really been an issue for the Lions, but every once in a while we see it pop up. This is a game where I do think the offensive line, specifically the interior, could get attacked a little bit. And I really like the way this Philly defense is coming together after some of the trades they made over the past few weeks, right? Guys are gelling into the Fangio scheme a little bit more. Jalen Phillips played great last week. Jalen Carter, after a rough September, is locked in. He's looking great right now. I do think this is a game where the Eagles could maybe tee off on the interior of this Lions offensive line a little bit. We saw the Vikings do it. We've seen the Packers do it. We saw the Chiefs do it a little bit, right? That's been the big common denominator in these 3 losses for Detroit. If you look at the Eagles, they are really good up the middle with Jalen Carter and with how good Zach Bond has been on blitzes, right? He's one of the best pass rushing linebackers in the NFL. Vic Fangio doesn't blitz often, but he really does a good job of picking his spots when he does. And I just wonder, man, I don't know. Could that cause some problems for this Lions offense if they're just teeing off on Glasgow and Ratledge and Mahogany, right? They haven't been abysmal. They haven't been true liabilities, but we have seen against some of these tougher defenses, that's the one scab you can really pick at. Now, that being said, the Lions do have plenty of answers on offense, right? You get Gibbs going to the outside maybe. He's been really good on these outside perimeter runs. This could be a game where Montgomery gets going a little bit. I think we'll see a lot of David Montgomery on the field, especially on 3rd down, just because you need him in pass protection, right? That's another thing that some of these teams have picked on is when Jahmyr Gibbs is out there on a passing down, they are forcing him to protect, and they're just targeting him, right? That's something the Vikings did a really good job with. That's honestly one of the biggest reasons why they won that game a few weeks ago. But I do think, the Lions figured out, last week, they barely had Gibbs block at all, right? It's okay, if we're passing, Montgomery's out there. Maybe it tips your hand a little bit, but, you really want to feel good about your back and pass protection. So that'll be something to monitor, right? And I think offensively for Philly, it's been so up and down for them, and this Lions defense is good. I know sometimes I'm negative about the Lions defense. This is a very good and talented unit, and they're well coached. I love what Kelvin Shepard has done. I think he's done a great job just stepping in for Aaron Glenn and keeping things up, really. But something I always come back to a lot. Man, heavy team. All right, corners. Pretty good corners. Not great, though. Could this be the A.J. Brown game, right? There are very few, if any, receivers in the NFL better against man coverage than A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith has also been unbelievable this year. And this is just what the Eagles do. Even if their passing game is choppy, even if it's up and down, they can hit enough big plays to swing the game in their favor. I think this could be, finally, we've been waiting for this, right? I think this could be like the A.J. Brown 150-yard game. He's been asking for a bigger role. We know he wants the rock. This is a game that actually sets up well for him with how good the Lions are against the run. If he's one-on-one against some of these corners, man, you got to throw it his way. This could finally be the game A.J. Brown gets like 12 targets, you know? I think this matchup actually bodes pretty well for Philly. It's in Philly too. I'm taking the Eagles in this one. I'll say Eagles win 26-23. It'll be another close game, right? I like the Lions a lot to hang around in this one. I think if this game is at Detroit, you could easily go the other way, say Lions win this one, right? This is about I'm looking at the ESPN match predictor. It is about a coin flip, right? Two of probably the 3 or 4 best teams in the NFC. But I'm taking Philly here, in Philly. I think this is a good matchup for them. I do think they match up pretty well against Detroit. Welcome, DM, to the stream, asking, do I start Baker or Dak this week? I might say Baker, simply because the Bucs might be in a bit more of a passing script. I don't really trust this Bills defense. Dak is obviously fantasy gold too. He's been money. We're about to talk about Cowboys-Raiders. It's not like the Raiders have been great by any means, but I might lean Baker this week. I could see him throwing the ball 40 times, something like that. I mean, Dak could do that too, for all I know. But I'll say Baker, even though I think in real life I would say Dak's a little bit better of a quarterback for fantasy. We'll say Baker this week. How about we'll go with Baker? But all right, final game here. I know it's not the Sunday slate, but we'll hit this one quickly because we're not going to talk about it any other time this week. Who knows? Maybe there's a fan of one of these teams tuning in or something. We'll quickly hit Cowboys-Raiders Monday Night Football. This is a game. This is the second week in a row we're getting Raiders in primetime. Man, I was excited about them going into the year. Yeah. I don't know, man. I guess I don't really have a ton to say. I guess the biggest thing to say with this game, and this is something I actually haven't talked about on this channel yet, and I'm seeing it pop up as I pull up like the preview. It's fair to say, and it's kind of a bummer, like honestly, the biggest story of this game is this is the Cowboys' first game since Marshawn Nealand passing away. So it's going to be an emotional day for Dallas, I think. Man, I mean, that's just an unthinkable tragedy, right? Just heartbreaking. You know, he's 24 years old. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know what else to say, really. It sucks. So that is probably, unfortunately, the story of this game. I do like Dallas in this game. I mean, the Raiders have just drove me crazy this year. I can't even say the verb correctly. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, both these teams have pretty rough defenses, but the Raiders just haven't been able to get anything going on offense. I love Geno forever, but man, he's been like bad this year, like straight up, just truly bad. I don't know. I don't have a ton to say about this game, honestly. We'll pick the Cowboys here. I think they're just a little bit more talented of a team. Dak should be able to get his. And I don't trust this Raiders defense. I don't really trust this Raiders offense. And I wonder how long this Pete Carroll experiment is going to last. I like the hiring going into the year. Now I'm like, oh boy, it's over. It's mega over for him. So we'll say Cowboys win 28-17. How about? I don't know. Champ saying, I remember arguing with someone in chat who was saying A.J. Brown was better than Puka before the season. Imagine being a Puka doubter. Oh, yeah, baby. Hey, we knew, right? We knew. Oh, yeah. I remember the wide receiver tier list stream. Hey, those of us that had Puka like top 3, oh, yeah, we up big right now. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's go. All right, well, that concludes the Sunday slate. We're going to move on now to the degenerate portion of the stream, one that has been very hit or miss for me so far. We are going to gamble a little bit because why not, right? I need the dopamine. No, but you know my take at this point. But we're just going to do this real quick. Just a chill little $5. I'm not going to bet on Jacoby Brissett again. I feel like I have a problem with that, and I've done that too much. I will say shout out Ryan Asti for the Kate Otten suggestion last week. That ended up paying off in a big way. Unfortunately, it was actually Jefferson who sold me. So that was kind of tough, but we'll see what we can cook up here. We'll find Rashid Shaheed's line. I do like the Rashid Shaheed take that we had from Jack. Shaheed, if I can spell his name right. 35.5. That seems incredibly low for Rashid Shaheed. We're going to take the over on that. He could get that in one catch easily. And we'll just do a 2-legger today. No 3-leg action today. We'll do one more here. I like Rashid Shaheed a lot. I haven't bet on sacks in a minute. Maybe this is stupid. We're going to look at sacks. We're going to see if we can find a sack line that we like. Who do we like to get some pressure today? Daniil Hunter? I don't hate that. Oh boy. I'm not touching the Vikings, bro. I'm not touching the Vikings this week. There's no way. Man, nah, we won't do sacks. We might do rushing. We'll see about rushing. Now, well, I like betting on receiving the most, or like fantasy score or something. We'll see if we can find something decent for this. That was a crazy noise. Nah, bro, I can't bet on Jefferson again. He killed me last week. Man, I did say I like the Dunze a lot. Where's the Dunze? We'll go Roma Dunze fantasy score. I like that. A little emotional hedge, right? Of course, we all know the Dunze is probably going to get under, but the Bears are still going to win. But we'll do that. That'll be our pigskin parlay for the week. Put that in. Lock that in. Yay, gambling. Now we'll check in on the challenge. I've been really lacking with the challenges recently. I still need to do some Old Bay stuff. What I might end up doing is like maybe at the end of the year I'll do like a challenge mega stream or something like that. Because I've fallen off the horse with this a little bit, but I still intend on doing all these. So maybe I'll do like a stream where I like do all these at once or something. Who knows? We'll figure something out for that. But yeah, we do have to get some Old Bay at some point because we did lose to the Ravens. See, here's what I'm talking about the challenge. If the Vikings lose this game today, right, be the first Bears QB to throw for 4,000 yards, that's literally impossible. Like, I can't do that at all. So I don't know. Like, I know this is just like a silly Instagram post that we found, but it's like, we'll have to figure out something else for that because I quite literally cannot do that. Like, it's not possible. But we'll figure it out, man. We'll figure it out. Anyways, that's all I've got for today, man. We're wrapping up here a little bit early, but that's all right. We had a lot of fun talking ball today. Super fun Sunday slate. Hope you guys all enjoy the games. I know I'm going to enjoy the games. We'll be back live again next week sometime. I'll make a community post, put something in Discord. You guys know how it is, right? But again, appreciate you guys all tuning in here this morning, waking up with me. We are about an hour away from football. I can't wait, man. I'm fired up. I'm excited. But until next time, I'll catch you guys all later. Have a nice Sunday. The doctor is out. Let's see if the Vikings can get it